I can hear myself. I can hear myself. It's coming back, but I don't.
Good evening, Today is Monday, May the 4th, 2020. This is a 5:30 p.m. virtual meeting. Ordinance number 1954, an ordinance adopting the general operation budget and capital improvement program of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021, and to levy the property taxes and to authorize the collection of such taxes on the new agenda items. Director Saylor is available to speak on this item. Director Saylor, you have the floor.
I'm here.
Okay, ma'am. You can speak it when you want to about the ordinance number 1954.
Okay, thank you. Mr. President, since we had last week's work session and meeting, and with the passage of Resolution 11-20, with discussions with the mayor due to possible safety issues, I inserted an additional project on page 3 of the ordinance. It's the citywide traffic and parking analysis for $50,000 utilizing speed camera funds. So that's what's different than when we last spoke. And that's the only thing additional that I have at this time.
Okay, thank you, Director Saylor. Any questions from the council? I will start with Councilmember Nicholas.
Yes, she said the only thing has changed is the, what now? I didn't hear that quite clearly.
The 50,000. I'll let her answer that question. Director Saylor, can you address Councilmember Nicholas' question?
Yes, thank you. I was saying the only change that I have to the budget since we had the meeting last week on April 27th is this addition to the CIP for a citywide traffic and parking analysis project using $50,000 from speed camera funds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Nicholas. Councilmember Smith.
I have no questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Councilmember Lass.
Fine with this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Lass. Councilman DeWalt.
I have a few comments on it after reading it several times, and I do strongly agree that the traffic and the parking has gotten completely out of hand in Laurel. The concern I have is it shows in Resolution 11-20 that the city has grown over the years, including a number of new single-family and multifamily residential developments. And it also says that surrounding jurisdictions have added a lot of residential and commercial developments. And then it mentions about these large multifamily complexes in the city now require fees for parking, causing a significantly greater demand for the parking on city streets. It also mentions the large trucks that park in certain areas and take up a lot of the spaces. My issue is that when these developments go up, and I sat on probably at least a half a dozen during the development of the Patuxent Greens, a half a dozen of them just related to the traffic study, and the parking issues that are going to occur down in with the Patuxent Greens development. And and I think I've mentioned this several times, I learned a lot about these traffic studies where these developers come in and they have a expert in the traffic field, and they're the ones that pay him. And what is in these traffic studies is a lot of the information that they put in there. So it's not like it's it's very objective. It's geared towards the developer pleasing the city and showing a bunch of charts and graphs and numbers and little things on the computer and things, as these dots going through, where it's going to be able to handle all this traffic. And that impact study also goes with parking analysis of these complexes too, and the overflow it might have, or the depending on the locations of where these developments occur. So these impact studies have already been done. Yet here we are, and I think it's pretty much common sense that as we get more and more developed with the amount of development that has come into the city, that we're going to suffer from traffic complaints due to the increase in traffic. Heck, alone, they project almost 1,300 cars coming out of Patuxent Greens when that's completed. This impact study also includes the impact on our schools, the impact on the environment, all kind of stuff. And I think because of a result of having to spend this money on another impact study, which is a comprehensive citywide traffic and parking analysis, I think we should be able to recoup funds from these developers, or have these experts that we're paying $50-some thousand or whatever we pay them, look at these traffic studies that these developers presented back when they built these developments and find some sort of culpability for their failure. They have failed. They have failed the city in these studies. My biggest concern is, and then you have multifamily complexes in the city now requiring fees for their parking. We are the council is a legislative branch of this city. Why don't we adopt some sort of ordinance into our laws in the city where these residential and commercial developments can't charge these people to park in their complexes, which will stop the increase of that. And the large trucks, once you put the signs out there, heck, we got them in front of City Hall because of the parking of large trucks. Once you put those signs out there and they're violated, once you start hitting these large trucks with heavy parking fines, because they are commercial vehicles, hit them with heavy parking fines, these truck drivers aren't going to spend or chance that money in doing those. So I think the developers should have some sort of culpability to what has occurred over the years and the impact that it has caused on our city, which has caused, and it says right in resolution number 11-20, it has caused an impact on our quality of life because of the traffic that comes through our city now and the parking issues. I mean, you also even have to look at the commuter lot, how that has swelled. And just before the pandemic, how that has swelled to where there is no parking left there. And now they're parking on Prince George Street, Montgomery Street, and anywhere else they could find. And what we have to realize is we have another development that was supposed to start at the end of the spring, the beginning of summer, which is our medical center out on Conti Road. So the developments are still coming in. They're still getting approved. They're doing these traffic studies that they pay for, that they handpick, and we have to do something to curb or make sure that these traffic studies, how about if they're done from an independent company that the city picks instead of these traffic studies that the developer picks. so that we could get somebody in here with some sort of knowledge of what the city is going through and how we're going to end up paying money that should have never been paid to do this citywide traffic study and parking analysis. And I just hope my colleagues that when we get some more developments that come into this city in times ahead, or when they come in here, that we look back on this and see when they come in here and they put on this parking analysis that we all understand that we should have something and some sort of changes are made so that it's more objective instead of being partial towards just a developer and him making more money. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I thank you, Councilman Watt, for your comments. Everybody good with this? We can move this to our city council meeting scheduled for May the 4th at 6 p.m. Okay, everybody's good? Okay. Director Sale, are you still on the line?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any comments you want to add before we move this to the scheduled meeting at 6 p.m.?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned. Today is Monday, May the 4th, 2020. Call to order the 9th meeting of the Mayor and City Council special meeting. Telephone number to call in is 240-294-1308. Once again, the number to call in is 240-294-1308. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Miss Nicholas,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Mr. DeWalt,
Here.
Mr. Les,
Here.
President Sydnor,
Here.
Mayor Mo.
Okay, we're going to have Mayor Mo lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor Mo. We wasn't going to have a roll call, the Mayor and City Council, but I'm going to do that anyway. I'm going to start with Councilmember Lass.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, condolences to Joyce Jackson and her family on the passing of her father. And congratulations to Ms. Rao. It's National Municipal Clerks Week, I believe, isn't it? So congratulations. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Lass. Councilman DeWalt.
I'd just like to give a little shout out to one of the organizations that was created not too long ago, and just before the pandemic hit, they were doing some great things in Laurel, and they had actually put in and asked the mayor to consider and the council to consider a sustainability coordinator. And I just want to read just one little paragraph about what their vision is. And the creation of a sustainability coordinator is an investment in Laurel's green economy that will have economic and societal benefits, in addition to the sustainability, livability improvements that would be achieved through collaboration of the coordinator and all city offices in the community. Positive media attention and PR can be leveraged to attract new and valuable businesses, more families and consumers, increase real estate values, enhance quality of life, and increase community pride. It's a win-win-win scenario. At the onset of the pandemic, in case you weren't aware, this Laurel-Patuxent had already completed several environmental things down along the Patuxent River near Avondale Park. They were in cooperation with American Legion down along the river path there, and they were going to do two major events down there before the pandemic hit. They also have a viable expert in the field of fish and wildlife that has taken the lead in coming them and offering them free advice. They also have helped out with the organic recycling program, which takes I'm part of that myself, and it takes a commitment. It takes a heck of a commitment in every day, what to throw away, what to save, where it goes, the recycling, the organic recycling. And they actually got Laurel High School involved. They had Pilates High School involved, and actually they were working with them and helping the teenagers maybe do some environmental things, efforts that we were doing at the time. They've also reached out to the churches and had several churches with their congregations looking to improve the environmental issues. So they've done a lot, and they've only been in existence. They actually just got incorporated not too long ago. So this is just a shout out to them, and hopefully because of their commitment, which is all volunteer work, their commitment, we can also eventually make a commitment to them in creating a sustainability coordinator, and so that he could work or she could work in close hands with the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Councilmember Nicholas.
Thank you. I'd just like to encourage everybody just to continue to wear their masks and continue to wash their hands and just continue to follow the local and state guidance of, the face mask and hand washing and, using all precautions. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Nicholas. Councilmember Smith.
Mr. President, I just want to also encourage everyone to continue the social distancing and offer any condolences to any residents or citizens that have lost loved ones here in Laurel or throughout the country. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. I don't have anything to say on my report. Mayor Mo, you have anything to say? Thank you, Mayor Mo. Transitioning to item number 2, a public hearing on intentions to raise the taxes above the constant yield tax rate. Open the public hearing at 6:06. Director Sale, are you available?
Yes, Mr. President. As we have discussed before, in February each year, the state of Maryland sends all the taxing authorities their estimated tax base. Even though the city is not planning to increase its tax rate from 71 cents per $100 of assessed value, we are not going to decrease it in order to generate the same amount of tax revenue. The Tax Property Article 6-308 from the state of Maryland requires that we publish an ad in a newspaper of general circulation. We did this in the April 24th edition of the Baltimore Sun as required. We received approval from State Department of Assessments and Taxation of the ad before submitting it to the paper. So the ad has run. Again, this is just to notify that if we do not decrease the tax rate to 69 cents per $100, it has to be advertised as a tax increase. I would like to point out that this required advertisement provides no allowance for any sort of consumer price index increases in the expenditures that the city has. So the projected increase in real estate tax revenue has been absorbed by offsetting expenditures such as our compensation, our insurances, and the projected decreases of state shared revenues. And that's all I have on this matter, Mr. President.
Thank you, Director Saylor. The number is 240-294-1308 to call in to speak on item number 2, the constant yield tax rate. Once again, 240-294-1308. I close the public hearing at 6:08. Moving on to item number 3, a second public hearing with possible actions on ordinance number 1954, an ordinance adopting the general operation budget and capital improvement program of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland for fiscal year July the 1st, 2020 through June the 30th, 2021, and to levy the property taxes, to authorize collection of such taxes. I read the title in the record for the second reading. I open the public hearing at 6:09. Director Saylor, any updates?
Mr. President, as I informed you at the work session earlier this evening, we added a project for citywide traffic and parking analysis of $50,000 to the capital improvement program, utilizing speed camera revenue. So the total balance budget is still, as we discussed, at $36,419,488. The new funds for the CIP now total $4,507,738, and the CIP reauthorized funds are $10,335,343. with a tax rate, a real estate tax rate of 71 cents per $100 of assessed value, a business personal property tax rate of $1.69 per $100 of assessed value, and the transit overlay tax of 3 cents per $100 of assessed value. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Director Saylor. For the record, we received a letter from Cheryl Dreyer addressed to the Mayor and City Council dated May the 4th, 2020. Also from the record, we received a letter from the Laurel Friends of the Patuxent dated May the 1st, 2020. And the public hearing is still open. The telephone number to call in to speak on item number 3 is 240-294-1308. Once again, that number is 240-294-1308. I'll stand by if anyone wants to call in. I'm ready.
Go ahead, sir. You can speak, sir.
Good evening. This is Mike McLaughlin. I live at 1013 8th Street in Laurel. And I want to say good evening to Mayor Moe, President Saylor, and council members. You have the letter from our group, Laurel for the Patuxent Incorporated, so all of you know where I stand on the creating a city sustainability coordinator. But I understand that the pandemic crisis has caused budget constraints that will delay creating that position for a year. I want to reiterate that the support the mayor and council members have given our new group has been invaluable, and I would like to see our collaboration expanded. So as an alternative to that request in our letter, I ask you to consider formally endorsing Laurel for the Patuxent Incorporated as the city's partner in creating an environmental sustainability plan. Such a plan, or blueprint, will provide the framework for a sustainable future, as well as help clarify the job description when the city can afford a sustainability coordinator. On a personal note, I first put my feet in the Patuxent River as a teenager back in the 1960s. So as a decades lover of our river who wants future generations to experience its beauty and tranquility, I'd like to share something I recently learned from a Walt Whitman poem. In Crossing Brooklyn Ferry, Whitman is speaking to people many generations hence when he says, "Just as you feel when you look on the river and sky, so I felt. Just as you are refreshed by the gladness of the river and the bright flow, I was refreshed." But the line that really jumped out at me was when this 19th century poet, addressing those people in the future, wrote, "I considered long and seriously of you before you were born." That line made me think of Laurel generations hence, 50, 100 years or more from now, when all of us are long gone. And I thought of students in Laurel's future studying the environment and the planet in whatever condition it is in by then. And those students learn of the attitudes and actions of today's city residents towards environmentally responsible practices. When they come across the records of this and other city council deliberations on the environment and sustainability, will those future students be able to confirm that we did indeed consider long and seriously of them before they were born? When the COVID-19 crisis is over, the climate crisis will still be there. Let's not delay considering Laurel's future students and the world they will inherit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Any other testimonies? 240-294-1308 to speak on item number 3. We're waiting for the call to come in, Mr. McLaughlin, and I just want to thank you for your service to the city. We really appreciate that. I can speak for myself, and I'll speak for the other council members as well. We're very interested in working with you and your group to environment and climate of our city. We're very serious about our climate of our city. We thank you for your understanding that that's something that we cannot put in the budget this year, but we're not against that. We just need more research on that and working with your group and understanding more about that. I'm quite sure the administration and the city council could probably come to an agreement or come to some type of a committee again to keep young students informed as well as yourself in the climate. Like I said, we are very serious about our climate, and we thank you for your dedication and hard work to our city. And we're looking forward to working with you and your committee in the near future. Anyone else want to call in? The number is 240-294-1308. Okay, we have another caller. Caller, you can start speaking.
You can go, sir.
Good evening, President Sydnor and all the council members, and Mayor Mo. I'd like to thank especially Carl DeWalt for his kind words about Laurel for the Patuxent, and that's what I'm calling about. My name is Jock Haight. I live at 5 Riverview Court, apartment 204 off of Main Street, and I'm a member of Laurel for the Patuxent. And we would like to formally request that the council and the mayor consider putting our organization on the list of boards, commissions, and committees similar to the Arts Council, the Tree Council, and the various advisory committees. And that's the point of my call. And thank you very much, all of you, for your help. And thank you very much, Carl DeWalt.
Thank you, sir, for your testimony. Anyone else on the line? Number is 240-294-1308. And while we're waiting on the caller to come in, Mayor Moore, do you want to say anything on this record? Okay, thank you. Okay, no problem. Once again, the number is 240-294-1308. I close the public hearing at 6:17. Okay. Reopen the public hearing at 6:17 on item number 3, ordinance number 1954. Okay.
He was supposed to be.
I think
yes.
Mike would.
He may have changed his mind.
Okay.
You can go, sir.
You can go. Mr. Porter? Hello?
Yes.
You can go.
Hello, this is Brian Coyle, 336 Prince George Street. I'm also a member and co-chair of Laurel for the Patuxent, and I'm calling to follow up on the last 2 callers. I'd like to thank Mayor Mo, President Sydnor, council members, and also Councilman DeWalt in particular. Thank you for mentioning our letter and our actions. I just want to emphasize what was stated already. I'm calling to second the request of Mike and of Jacques that we ask the city to make Laurel for the Patuxent a formal partner recognized on city materials for preparing what is essentially a phase 1 of a sustainability plan, which would include a sustainability blueprint. And just to emphasize that what we are about is action and actually laying out this plan for accelerating change as quickly as we can. Laurel for the Patuxent very much wants a sustainability coordinator position to be created as soon as possible, but we do understand the current fiscal circumstances. I just want to emphasize that our planet is on the edge of an ecological collapse and that our children will bear the burden of whatever we're not able to do to reverse climate change today, tomorrow, next week, going into the future. The Secretary General of the United Nations has stated that the future of our children looks increasingly bleak. So I state this just to emphasize how urgent and how imperative it is that we do whatever we can to attack this problem aggressively. And so working with the city, has been a good, positive experience. I think we've generated a lot of interest and passion, and we would definitely want to use that to create a healthier future for the city going forward. I know that COVID-19 is a very serious crisis that we're dealing with, but the climate and ecological crises are orders of magnitude more threatening and significant to the fate of humanity and the planet. And so as we come out of COVID-19, we need to be prepared to respond to that as quickly as we can. Some other points that could be certainly acted upon soon, I see in the budget that money has been put aside for vehicle purchases and for fleet replacement.
those could be electrical vehicles. That could not only reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, but also it sends a message that Laurel is serious about making a change, making that transition in culture and operations. And then also any way that we can shift to renewables. So whatever source that we have of oil and gas should be disinvested, and that renewables should be prioritized. So thank you for your time. I appreciate that. We look forward to continuing to work with the city, and we'll follow up soon with more conversation about how we can engage, vitally on getting started with a sustainability plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, sir. Thank you for your testimony, and thank the Laurel Protection Committee for their testimony as well. Like I said earlier, the city is definitely going to work with the administration. City council is definitely going to work with the city administration and the mayor to find we can find ways to, save our climate. I'm very in tune with that, and I thank you once again for all your support and your hard work and dedication to our city. Volunteers like yourself and your team members, is very paramount to our city, and we really appreciate all your efforts. And like I said, we're going to look into that, and I think the Mayor Mo want to say a few words, and then we'll move on with the rest of the business of the city. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll give you I'll say a few words to give people at home that remember that number and call it. So first, let me thank the City Council for working with the administration on the budget. It's been very challenging, as we have said many times. I do want to thank Michelle Saylor and her staff, as well as Ms. Crook on the work that they've done putting this together during very difficult times. I also want to thank others that have called me and provided me with some information regarding the budget. And then, as you heard, we did get a letter from Laurel for Patuxent Inc., which I'm happy to say I've been attending those meetings, as well as Mr. Les, Mr. DeWalt. So I think there is a commitment there from the city on the things that the organization is trying to do, especially when you have 3 individuals from the city participating and attending those meetings. So I want to thank them for their letter. I had the opportunity to call Brian and Mike early this afternoon sometime and respond back to Ms. Dwyer's email. I told Mike and Brian for their organization it was going to take me a little bit longer to respond back, just because of scheduling and things that are going on, and I want to find some information out to provide them as well. I think we have said all along we're very open. I think the city's very open, and the city has moved in a different direction when we talk about green technology, whether it be the electric vehicles, which we were looking at. We're still looking at those for some of our fleet already. The issue will be, and we had a state grant to be able to get the charging stations that were already supposed to be put in. We're hopeful that funding still comes available. If not, that's something that we'll have to look at ourselves. We've been acknowledged for our solar here in the city, and the program that we had making it easier for people to get solar. So we are in tune with the green technology. We've done a lot here at City Hall and all of our city facilities, whether it's restricting water flow or how much is being used on toilets or urinals, as well as sinks. And we have converted everything to LED lighting, and we're converting others to LED lighting when we talk about our street lighting as well. So we are hopefully moving in the right direction. We look forward to working with the organization. I think they've done some outstanding work already, and they're open to talking with city officials and city groups. I know many of our city employees already work and deal with them on several different things that they do. So that commitment is there. It's just been very tough. I've been through this before, something similar when we talk about money, not a pandemic. So I've been very cautious on how far we go, as well aware. My commitment has been to the employees. I took out $2.4 million out of the undesignated reserve to pay for that. I think we owe that to our employees. We owe that to our retirees as well. And then we cut another $250,000 that's going to be used to offset some of the revenues we know that are coming. One thing that I've learned several times when we deal with these types of loss of revenue. The state and the county take care of their budgets, and then we're last on the grapevine. So it will be very difficult, as I said in my letter to you all, for at least the next 2 cycles, I believe. But we need to continue that government continues to move forward, and we need to do the right things. And it will be all about prioritization to make sure that the city services get funded, our employees are taken care of, but most importantly, our community gets what they deserve. And that concludes my remarks, Mr. President, unless anybody has any questions for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anybody else want to call in? Any callers? 240-294-1308. I close the public hearing at 6:26. I ask for a motion. Ordinance number 1954.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 1954, an ordinance adopting the general operating budget and capital improvement program of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for fiscal year July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021, and to levy property taxes and to authorize collection of such taxes.
I second.
Thank you, Councilman Lash. Thank you, Councilman Nicholas. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call for a vote.
Mr. Laz?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt? President Sydnor?
Yes.
Mayor Mo?
Okay, just want to thank the council. The mayor came to me about maybe when the COVID-19 first hit and say that we might want to get the budget approved early because the budget's supposed to due to the council on May the 1st. And I talked to the council members, and the council members stepped up because they knew we was going through a crisis in the city, and we want to be prepared to have some funding for the city in case we need some things. So just want to commend the council for working together as a group supporting the city. With that, meeting adjourned.